One of the greatest challenges for women as they come through menopause and into postmenopause is the fact that they don't have enough energy. I still remember those days of crashing on the couch at night after a long day, and I just wondered where all my energy had gone. I'm sure many of you are the same. So what happens to our energy levels as we come through menopause? Well, I hope you've been reading my articles through the month of May, which has been Energy Month, and there's lots of implications and influences on our energy levels as we come through menopause. Perhaps one of the first ones is that we're losing muscle, and in our muscle we have the mitochondrial cells, and the mitochondria is where they're called the powerhouse of the cell, and that's where your energy is produced. But for these mitochondria to be functioning efficiently, then we need fats and glucose to be passed into those mitochondrial cells. So this is where our diet becomes really important for our energy. Now, I've got lots and lots of information in my 12-week programs around how we restore our energy. Yes, part of this is sleeping all night, so we must focus on our sleep and understand how to turn that around, how to focus on our circadian rhythm, and how to focus on a little bit of fasting overnight. But the other thing we need to do for helping our energy levels first and foremost is to restore our liver health, particularly for those of you who are overweight or carrying a lot of belly fat, because that means that there's often fat around your liver as well. And one of the foods that help our liver is rolled oats. These are our lovely New Zealand Haraway's organic rolled oats. They've got beta glucans in them, which help to clear excess estrogen and cholesterol from the liver. So that's a really important thing that you can be doing. Even if you don't like grains, or if you need to be gluten-free, then find some foods, try to increase your vegetables and your fiber, which also help to clean out your liver. And I've got a lot of information about the liver in my programs. But the other things that we can do to help to restore our energy levels is to think about muscle and to think about cardiac muscle. Now, we need vitamin C. We've got to have vitamin C in our diet. It's one of the things that I wasn't having enough of, but our heart and our brain and our liver and our muscles need vitamin C. So are you having enough citrus fruit in your diet? And, if you want your nerves and blood vessels to be working efficiently as you come through menopause and into postmenopause, then increase those levels of vitamin C, particularly if you're an exerciser or if you're really busy and feeling very stressed. The other thing that we can do to improve our energy levels is we can focus on the healthy fats. I'm sure many of you have started to include avocado into your diet. I could easily be holding up a bottle of extra virgin olive oil as well, but fats are taken into the mitochondria. I have a little bit of physiology in my program, and certainly I explain how our fats are broken down and they're taken into the mitochondria through a substance called L-carnitine, and as part of that, that starts our whole energy metabolism. So what we need to be doing is having the right type of fats and certainly the right type of sugars from fruits and as well. But the other thing we need for energy is we need some starch. We forget about the fact that good old bananas have starch in them. For those of you who are exercising regularly, there's very good research to show that having a banana within an hour of finishing your exercise is important to replace the stored glucose, which is called glycogen. And we know that resistant starch helps our gut health. So putting bananas on your menu is another thing that's really important. But perhaps the number one thing that we can be doing for our energy levels as we come through menopause and then into postmenopause is sorting out our vitamin D levels, or at least checking them. I'm always saying that to women on the program. It's something that I think that many doctors are overlooking, but vitamin D is now recognized as a hormone. It's part of our energy regulation mechanisms, because it's involved. Not only is it involved in helping absorb calcium from the small intestine, but we store vitamin D in fat cells. So vitamin D is needed for part of this energy regulation pathway where fats are being released from fat cells and being passed into the mitochondria for energy levels. Those of you who are overweight and obese, it has been shown that vitamin D is deficient in women who are obese. So it is important to get your levels checked, particularly if you find that your energy levels have really crashed. Now, the reason for that is because we have two different types of fat cells, and the white fat is the harmful visceral fat that gets stored around the belly and under the diaphragm, which is where I found it accumulated. So if we've got too much of the harmful white fat, white adipose tissue, then that can lead to a metabolic kind of dysregulation in the ability for fat cells to store vitamin D. But if we can change that, and if we can focus on the right weight loss strategies for menopause, then we can turn that around, and we can have more brown fat, brown adipose tissue, or BAT. B-A-T, and it's the brown adipose tissue that is more metabolically active because it has more mitochondria. So it's really important that we're switching from the white fat, the harmful visceral fat, towards the brown fat, and I talk about that in my Transform Me weight loss program. So those are my suggestions for you to start thinking about your energy levels. I hope that you're enjoying May as part of our energy month. It's so important, and I'm very passionate about the fact that we need to stay healthy, we need to stay relevant, and we need to stay resilient as we come through menopause and into postmenopause. You know, women are living a lot longer these days, and menopause matters to our health as we age. I certainly found myself that my energy levels were all over the place. I put on 15 kilograms of that harmful visceral fat, and it was really only when I started to focus on the specific lifestyle solutions that I needed to put in place at this stage of life that I was able to, to turn this around and improve my blood profile as well as improve my vitamin D. I didn't know that my vitamin D levels were so low, but of course, you know, it's living in New Zealand, we're known to have low vitamin D levels, particularly in the south, and certainly as a family we chase the winter months, so that's really important. For those of you, whichever hemisphere you live in, then don't forget that as the seasons are changing, then your vitamin D levels do take a little while to build up, and it usually takes at least 6 weeks to get some change in your vitamin D levels. So keep that in mind as well. I'm Dr. Wendy Sweet from My Menopause Transformation, and I would love you to check out the website, sign up to my newsletter, do the symptoms quiz, and if you can, listen to the masterclass. I talk about vitamin D in there. Really important for our moods. We know that depression is a risk for women as they come through menopause, so it's important to not just look at our hot flushes or our brain fog. Those are the things that get a frequent mention as we come through menopause. Menopause causes our changing estrogen and progesterone levels cause changes all throughout the body, and all of our hormones affect each other. So when estrogen and progesterone are lowering, then this affects a lot of other hormones, our thyroid hormones, adrenal hormones, our pituitary hormones, and vitamin D is now known to be a hormone too. So educate yourself, get on my website, and just kind of have a little bit of a reflection on some of the lifestyle changes that you may need to make as you come through this life stage. And if you need help, then have a look at the programs and come on board with me.